Hey, how's everyone doing today? We will continue our online learning for the foreseeable future. I saw on the Sioux Falls School District website that we will be doing online learning to March 1st. So that is a big announcement. I think the important thing from all this is that we still need to learn. Also, from that, we also need to know good study habits. So, for example, you don't set off these videos here because if you look, I have a bunch of slides that are going to be on here. I'll probably have close to 40 slides when I'm done with this. And it's going to be very hard for you guys to watch 40 slides in a couple hours maybe, and then do all the quizzes and stay afloat. So the important thing is we need to have good study habits and grind through this every day. I've always talked about how I want you to work your hardest as well. Working your hardest, sometimes it can be as simple as checking these slides every day. Okay? So, without further ado, what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to review the means and then also start looking at what a statistical median is. I talked a little bit about it yesterday, but we're going to be looking at those statistical medians. And then also, again, there's going to be a quizzes for you guys to do, 8 questions. Well, is pretty straightforward. So, let's review. What is a mean? Really, all that a mean is a, what do we think? It would be a average. So, an average. I'm trying to get better with writing on my iPad here, so that is supposed to say average. And so if we're finding the average, what are the steps? Let's put the steps right here. We have to take every number, add it up, and then what? What operation comes after that? Once we have it all added up, we divide by how many numbers are in the set. So, let's look at this example. It says, find the following of Mr. Smith's averages in the following set of a round of golf. So, this is how many strokes it took Mr. Smith in this round of golf. So, let's take them all, add them up. So, this, for example, would be a problem that you need to take slow when you type it in, because you could easily lose track of where you're at, type in a wrong number, and then you'll get the wrong answer. Even though you knew how to do it, you still need to be careful. So we add these all up, and I got 71. And then, if we look, how many numbers are in the set? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 holes, so we have to divide that by 18. So, let's take a look what we would get. Well, what I got is 3, and then 94. What would this 94 be? Hundredths, thousandths, tenths? Well, this would be a 94 hundredths, so 3 and 94 hundredths. Or if we just want to use it as the short language of it, it would just be 3.94. This 4 is actually repeating, but we would still round that to 3.94. So that is again how we do a mean. We're finding the average. We add them all up and then divide by how many numbers are in the set. So Now looking at a median, all that a median is the middle. So, for example, do we hear the word median in what this person is called? What this person is called in a debate? This person is called a mediator between a debate of two people. The person in the middle that's kind of keeping control, staying in the middle between the two, is a mediator. Do we hear the word median and the word mediator? Also, so we look at this, the median is the middle. But I know the word middle and average sound like synonyms to one another. They are not. Middle and average, depending on what your number set looks like, could be really close in value, but they could also be off. So, if I say find the median, we need to know how to find the median. If you just find the mean instead, you could be off. It's up in the air. So, really what the median is doing is it's splitting the data in half. It's taking the middle of the set. Not the average, but the middle. So, for example, if we go back up to this one, it would be cutting all of this in half. Of course, we'll have to look at something, but we're not adding it up and dividing it. We're splitting it right down the middle. So, going back here, the steps we're doing, and again, circle, star, underline, what you got to do right here. Any important thing, it is this what I'm about to say. What you do is you put the set in number order. Then, cancel out numbers from the outside till you get to the middle. So, what a good example of this would be is right here. If you need to get to the middle of the interstate, that's called a median as well. But what we need to do is, imagine if you're trying to get to the middle. What you have to do first is, and I do not recommend doing this, you're going to have to run across the shoulder. So we're going to have to cancel that out. Cancel out the shoulder over here. Cancel out one lane because you're going to have to run across, and cancel out the other. And see how if we go from both sides, we'll get to the middle by canceling out what we have on the outside. So, I do not recommend you run in front of traffic, but what we're doing is we're still trying to get to the median in that example. So, looking at the same example I had before, when we found the mean, it was 90 without the 0, 75 with the 0. Well, we look at this, what we're going to have to do is put them in number order. And how would I put it in number order? Well, if I have the 0, have that 0 right there, have a 0 there, I'm going to have to include it. So what I'll do is I'll take it, put it in number order, and this is what we have. So what we can do is now we cancel out till we get to the middle. So see how I cancel out the 0 and the 100? Now I'm closer to the middle. Well, I cancel out both ends over here. But hold up now. Now I have these two. If I cancel them out, I won't have any numbers left. So, right here in this example, how we have an even number in the set, we'll have two numbers in the middle. And what we'll have to do then is find the average of those. So, we canceled out till we got to the middle. Now we have to find kind of what's in the middle between these two right here. So what we'll do is we'll add 87 and 93 up, 180, and divide it by 2, and we'll get 90. So the median of this is 90, including the 0. Do we see how I had an A without the 0, and now I have an A with the 0 in it? This comes from this 0 being canceled out regardless. This 0 is what we'll call an outlier. That's not an important part, but in this context, I would much rather have my grade be the median grade, not the mean grade. Now, for example, let's say I don't have that 0 here. Well, now what I have is, instead of having the 0 here, well, now all I have to do is cancel these out again. So again, I will start at 90 or 72 now. Cancel those, cancel out the 100. Now I have 3 numbers left, cancel out these 2. Well, now I'm only left with 93. That 93 is my answer. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, so we continue here. So this is an example again, and we're going to keep looking at what this has to do. And this really has to do with this picture that I have right here. This picture, if we look at it, when I didn't have an outlier, it looks pretty symmetrical, right? We have a smaller range of numbers, so this looks symmetrical. But with that 0 represents right about here. So, do we see now how instead of having the mean and median on top of one another, we now have the mean all the way over here? And so the median is a better representation of it just because it doesn't get pulled down as much from that 0 right here. If that was kind of over your head, not a big deal. Just know what we have is our median and mean are not the same. The median, what we're doing is we're finding the middle. We're canceling out to get to the middle. The mean, what we're doing is we're adding them all up and dividing by the number in the set. So let's look at this example then. We find the mean and median. Oh, I have a typo here. Mean. That should be mean, not mode. Mean. So what we're going to do is we're going to put these in number order. This is something that can also be a little difficult just because if you have a larger set, sometimes it can be pretty easy to lose a number. So 3s are out. I see a 5, 2 7s, and this right here, oh, made a mistake. Look at that. I need to involve my 6 over here. So 6, 7, 7, 13, 27. So, looking at this, what this means is the number of touchdowns Nick Foles scored in a season. So, would you consider this 27 an outlier? I probably would. So, what we'll do is we're going to cancel out till we get to the middle. Well, between 6 and 7, I know that's going to be 6.5. So there's your median. Now let's find that mean. And what would be a context where we could find this to be important? Do you think Nick Foles probably finds it important when he was negotiating a new contract? if he said that his average touchdowns per season, what would we get here? Well, added them up, we'll get 71. And we're dividing it by 8. And we would get 8.875. So Nick Foles, when he's negotiating his new contract, would say, well, I'm scoring 8.8 touchdowns per season. Well, the owner that probably wants to save money and pay him less would say, well, no, your median is 6.5 because you had one really good year, and then the other ones you were aggressively average, right? So let's look at one more example here. So find the median of the set of prices for a box of mac and cheese in dollars. So what we're going to do is, if you look, conveniently it's already in number order. Some of these might be, some of them might not be. So what we have to do now, pretty straightforward, we just cross out the outsides first. So these are gone. We're not going to include them anymore. So those are gone. Well, we can continue to do that. Continue to do that again until I have one number left. And that one number is $1.50. Now, if I put a box right here that was worth $1 million, our median won't change a whole lot because we're still canceling it out. So instead of being at between these, having that skewed because of one box, right here, our median is just going to be between these two numbers instead. Okay, and again, if you look at that and you're kind of confused, just know the difference between the mean and median, and in what context that it's important not to use or not to mix them up. Okay. Well, that's pretty much it for the median. But one thing that I do want to remind you guys is we have quizzes. I have them all set to close on Friday at midnight. So you have the option. What I would do is I would just get it done right away. But you also have the option of procrastinating. I don't recommend that. Just know that they're open until Friday at midnight. Okay?